Welcome to your cathedral. I'm Father Greg Sack with special thanks once again to Mark Teresi and David Jonas. David and Mark, I want to thank you year-round providing wonderful, great music, so thank you. Special thanks also to Lori Doyle, who does everything for the spiritual video for now a long time. And thank you for the putting together the B-roll, the whole thing together. So Lori, thank you very much. We are celebrating the 14th Sunday in Ordinary Time. We are into July, which is so hard to believe. I hope you had a wonderful July 4th weekend. There's a story of a grandfather who told his grandchildren, if you fall off a bicycle, you have to get right back on again. When Grandpa fell off his bike, sure enough, he got right back up again. When he fell off again, Grandpa got right back up on the bike again and again and again. But grandmother overheard the conversation and remarked, you also have to pedal, you old fool. If you get on a bike, you better pedal. Consider these three well-known people who never stopped pedaling, who never gave up, very highly motivated people. This is almost hard to believe. Bishop Fulton Sheen, the great bishop and preacher, was told by a college debate coach, you're absolutely the worst speaker I ever heard. True. Ernest Hemingway, the great novelist, was told by his teachers, forget about writing. You don't have enough talent for it. And Richard Hooker, the author of MASH, had his book rejected by 6 publishers before it was finally accepted, became a runaway bestseller. People, individuals who never gave up. I have good news for all of you. Many of us are motivated, self-starters, good peddlers. I also have bad news for us. Motivation is not enough for the spiritual life. Motivation is important, but it's not enough for the spiritual life. In our second reading from Paul, the Corinthians, this weekend, the 14th Sunday, he says this, therefore I am content with weakness, with mistreatment, with distress, with persecutions and difficulties, and for the sake of Christ. And for when I am powerless, it is then that I am strong. I like that last night. For when I am powerless, it is then that I am strong. St. Paul means that when he's weak, it's then he turns to God for help. It is then he opens himself to God and allows the power of God to strengthen him, to give him courage. To put another way, Paul is saying that had he never experienced weakness, he would never have reached out for help. And he would never have discovered the greatest source of power that a person can discover, the power of God, that God is with us. St. Paul was very highly motivated. Make no mistake about that. No question about this. But again, motivation is not enough for the spiritual life. We need to let the power and presence of God to touch and work through our lives and through our weaknesses, through our grief, through our pain, through our joy, through our good days and bad days, to work beyond our motivation. But please listen carefully to what I'm about to say. When we truly accept our limits, the opportunity for personal growth and development is almost limitless. I'll say it again. When we truly accept our limits, the opportunity for personal growth and development is almost limitless. Too many times we look for success instead of wonder. Too many times we focus on completing our lists and tasks, forgetting about wonder. Wonder means turning to God, and learning to prioritize in life, and seeing God in all of life. We sometimes get so caught up with our tasks, we forget about wonder and seeing God in life, in nature, in each other, in relationships, in oneself. Despite our many weaknesses. Sometimes we get so caught up with our own agendas and successes that we totally lose perspective. We sometimes worry ourselves to death and totally lose perspective. For most of us, we worry too much. We lose perspective. We want to be in control. I heard about this lawyer who had the same problem, and then he did something that only made the situation worse. He sent his first daughter off to college. He said he instantly lost perspective. During her first semester, Dad was driving his daughter and himself crazy about grades, about her friends, about taking drugs, about staying out too late at night. But then he received a letter from his daughter that helped him gain perspective. The letter came late in the second semester. Dear Dad, I have never been as happy as I am right now at this point in my life. You would love Jack. He's a wonderful man, and our first 3 months of marriage have been absolutely blissful. More than good news, Dad. The drug rehab program that we're both in just informed us that the twins that are due in 3 months will not be addicted at birth. And turning the letter over with fear, his father read on, Dad, there is no Jack. I'm not expecting. I'm not married. And I have never taken drugs. But I did receive an F in chemistry, so keep things in perspective. What a tremendous letter, daughter to father. And he actually laughed and said that helped him keep things in perspective. We do not see things as they are. We see things as we are. I like that. We do not see things as they are. We see things as we are. Accept your limits. Put life in perspective. Turn weakness over to the Lord. As St. Paul so beautifully says about the Lord's presence and power in his life, my grace is enough for you. For in weakness, power reaches perfection. A great line from Paul to the Corinthians. My grace is enough for you. For in weakness, power reaches perfection. When trials come our way, and they will, when crises come upon us, and they will, when hardships threaten to destroy us, and they can, we should never lose heart. Seek not to change others, but rather yourself. Seek not to change others, but rather yourself. May God bless all of you. Enjoy the gift of summer, one day at a time, and create great memories. Amen.
The Lord hears the cry of the poor. Blessed be the Lord. I will bless the Lord at all times. God's praise ever in my mouth. Let my soul